Within 2 hours, that video got 2,000 views. Ain't none of my videos ever getting views like that. So tell me why I gotta talk some shady shit lies about my man for y'all to pay attention.
Hi Chrislings! Today we're talking about the Resilient Jenkins and a recent claim of emotional abuse that Stephanie made in this TikTok. Where she wrote in the video caption, "Making the breakfast I know he'll eat because if I don't, he won't eat, and it'll somehow be mine or the kid's fault." Also, yes, the eye is back for this video. Now, obviously, this TikTok resulted in a massive wave of angry concern, including from me, as it was unclear if this was truly rage bait or an actual cry for help. Then, because of course there's a then, while I was asleep, because the Resilient Jenkins are on the West Coast, Stephanie left this comment on Facebook and this comment on TikTok where she wrote, "So, I was really trying something strategic with this post. I will make a follow-up post tomorrow, but please understand that the caption was merely a rage bait to show how easily people judge." Oh, I'm sorry, what's that? You faked DV for rage bait? Yeah, that's super messed up. Anyway, while we waited for this update to come, I couldn't get past the part where she wrote on Facebook that everyone's concerned outrage made her quote-unquote stomach turn, as 98% of the comments she got on Facebook were of concern for her and her kids' well-being. What is so stomach-turning about having thousands of women, including those who don't like you, express empathy? What's so horrible about that? Apparently, everything. Fortunately, or unfortunately I guess, Stephanie would provide us with the answer to that in her update video, where she explained that she did this on purpose to test her audience.
This post was a strategic post on my part.
Specifically, Stephanie says that she was inspired by content that she had seen from women who were in abusive situations.
Recently, I've been having a lot of couples pop up in my algorithm that have these like quote-unquote couple issues going on.
Situations that she believes are faked for views.
And I can tell it's like staged on their part. And I don't mean to be judgmental, but
including situations that just happened to happen within the same 24 hours as her decision to claim rage bait.
I know you're probably in the dark about what's going on. I know that you've seen the screenshots about the post he put up after the live stream a couple days ago. A lot of you have asked what happened in that live stream. Well, I started the day with just doing a live stream of cleaning this whole entire mess. This was actually the day it happened, right before it too. So like I spent all day doing all of this whole entire room. And as I'm nearing the end of it, it's about 2 o'clock or near 2. He comes in and scares me just out of the blue. And I like kind of scream because I'm startled. And he's like, "You need to get this live off."
So what did our little stoner decide to do in this version of events? Because we'll get to that in a bit, about whether or not this is even true. Stephanie says that she decided to fake emotional abuse to see how many people are following her to see her relationship with Drew crumble. What?
And I feel like it was because the general population of those new followers are people that are like, okay, I want to watch this couple fall apart. And it just had my gut off. I was like, is that really how people think? And I started wondering like how many people are following me and Drew for that very reason.
Now, if we take this at face value, if we were to believe her and agree that this is 100% what happened, that is supremely fucked up. Because not only did Stephanie state outright that the other women posting content like this, that includes their DV situation.
You guys saw what I was going through with him in my videos. Paying all of the bills, all the housework, and doing the cooking. And
that is being faked for views.
And I could tell it's like staged on their part.
She is saying that she doesn't believe other victims, which contradicts past statements that she has made as a DV survivor.
Because I sure as fuck would not be sitting here judging a woman like this. I don't ever think my experiences should be pushed on anyone or they should experience them.
Stephanie is also admitting here that she thinks it's okay to emotionally manipulate her audience, supporters, or otherwise.
Now I know the first thought is to be like, oh, so she did a rage bait? No, actually what I did this for was to see how many people are following us, waiting for our downfall, waiting to find out, oh, Drew's just that bum piece of crap that everybody keeps saying he is.
And even claiming that she planned to do this a few weeks ago with Drew.
I even spoke to Drew about putting the post up beforehand. Like weeks ago, I was like, what if we saw who's following us for that reason? And, you know, he was like, okay, people already hate on me, go ahead.
All of which are behaviors that most survivors of domestic violence, including emotional abuse, which is what Stephanie is claiming that she was lampooning, don't do. Certainly not emotionally mature adults, regardless of their experience or lack of experience with DV. They do not make a joke out of it for engagement on the internet.
But I'm just astonished because that's definitely the most views I've gotten on a TikTok in quite some time. Like, I don't think I've ever gotten that many views on one of my Instagram reels.
Worse, in this video, Stephanie basically calls her audience stupid for believing that she was in a DV situation to begin with.
I mean, this is the most views I've had on a video in a while. Definitely the most likes I've had. And then I got all these people in the comments like, oh, I knew this all along. What did you know? Because I haven't said anything about my man negatively up until this post, which I just mentioned was a strategic move on my part.
Yeah, you heard that right. We're stupid for having empathy or concern for her and her children's well-being. Let that sink in for a minute.
What did you know?
As Stephanie claims that in the 3 years that she has been posting to TikTok, she hasn't once said a negative thing about Drew.
Because for the past 3 years, all I've put forward and all I've said about my man is that he's an amazing father. He's a very supportive partner, and I've spoke nothing different. But the one post that I put up saying anything that would contradict that, putting a bad rep on my man, blows up like that.
Unfortunately for Little Miss Burnout, some of us still have cognitive function, because this claim is actually a bold-faced lie.
And all I've said about my man is that he's an amazing father.
Stephanie has complained about Drew and her situation living with Drew on multiple occasions. Like this clip, where Stephanie is complaining about Drew prioritizing video games over his family.
And see, that comes from sitting up there pulling on that motherfucking knob.
Or this clip, where Stephanie goes on a rant about female video game characters and why they have to be so provocative. And what's the allure of that anyway?
It is. I mean, it's gotta keep men interested, and low-key my man's all like, hey babe, help me pick out this character, and I'm like, which one? Slut number 1, 2, or 3? And he's like, what? I'm like, what? I don't even dress like that. What the fuck?
I think that this rant is just Stephanie complaining about Drew paying more attention to his video games than to her.
It's not like a thing like I'm jealous, because that's just silly, but I don't understand why video game characters are so provocative.
I don't even dress like that. What the fuck?
Just my opinion though. Anyway, then there's this clip about Drew commenting on her appearance because she decided to wear makeup.
We need to like normalize not telling women like, oh, you wore makeup today. You know, because we don't really say that to those women who wear makeup every motherfucking day, who get up and spend 2-3 hours doing their makeup. But then when you meet those girls like moi, who maybe put it on 2-3 times every year,
specifically accusing her of dressing up for someone else, because that's problematic.
It's instantly like, well, what are you putting makeup on? We're like, why you got makeup on? What are you trying to look good for? Like, bitch, I just feel like I have time today. Like.
Or how about in this TikTok where Stephanie complains about their living situation?
Every now and again, I'm allowed to complain about the fact that I share a 1-bedroom with 4 kids, my husband, and 4 cats. And my insomnia is the worst part of it, because the fuck am I supposed to be in the middle of the night when I can't sleep? I can't be in the room with my husband or I'm gonna wake him up. can't be in the room with the kids and I can't even go do the dishes or I'm gonna wake someone up. And I can't go outside because I live in a town where I'm gonna get murdered outside, so.
Or how about this TikTok from last April?
I'm trying to raise daughters who have confidence, who believe they're beautiful, who know they're smart, who, you know, want to rock whatever outfit they want and have confidence to go out the house. And anxiety doesn't keep them in the fucking house. That is so hard when I am zero confidence and have anxiety that just rules my fucking world. And I mean, I love my partner and I don't want to say nothing negative about him, but it wouldn't hurt him to say he has appreciation for me every now and again, to tell me that he finds me attractive, but that just seems like it's fucking vinegar on his tongue or something.
Where Stephanie admits that Drew has only complimented her 3 times in 3 years. Yeah.
I can say I really do know every occasion he's told me I'm attractive or I'm beautiful, because I pay attention to that stuff. That means a lot to me, and it's been 3 times in the past 3 years, so...
Oh, and under that video, Stephanie will actually respond to this comment, writing, "It's nice to hear other perspectives. I'm sorry you had to endure that. I have been in an abusive relationship before, and I don't believe I'm currently in one. I just feel like my man has a really hard time using words to show any attraction or appreciation towards me, and that's hard because I'm the opposite." Is this starting to sound familiar? Are we recognizing anything right now? To which the original commenter will reply, unfortunately one of their comments is missing, but the last 2 are there. To answer your question though, yes. There are definitely other women out there who experience this, and I don't know your situation, but look into emotional abuse and see if it helps make sense of what you are experiencing. It took me 5 years to figure out what it was called and why I felt the way I do. Curslings, this was back in April 2024. This is not a new conversation for Stephanie. Stephanie would actually follow up this video with a, you guessed it, backpedal, explaining that Drew just isn't good at expressing himself.
Basically, I'm saying it's hard to raise daughters when you don't have confidence, and it's especially hard when it seems like you have a partner that doesn't know how to, like, kind of assist you in that, like, self-confidence issue, because he's just not verbally expressive about how he feels about you. And I don't even mean to fault my man for that, because, you know, everybody's different. Everybody expresses how they feel about somebody a different way. And he does a lot for his family. He does a lot for me. So I never meant to give that impression that he doesn't show how he appreciates us in his own way. It's just, for me, I'm a very verbal person, and I voice how I feel about people verbally. I tell you, you know, I appreciate you, you're beautiful, you're awesome. And that's just not how my man is.
Cool, because emotionally unavailable men is so healthy.
And I don't know, but for me personally, when you have a woman in your life, and especially when you have one who struggles with really bad anxiety and self-confidence issues, talk the girl up every now and again. It's not going to kill you. It's just not going to kill you, man.
Then, of course, there's this clip from September 2024, where Stephanie admits that Drew requires corn to turn his crank.
And quite honestly, if he's got to watch some schmexy videos to come in here and do what he do to me in that bed, no, if a girl can give a damn. And I pray the good Lord take control of these hands if I ever find out there is a bitch taking time for my man.
Now, there is nothing wrong with incorporating a little corn into your intimate life with your partner. That is not necessarily a bad sign of anything. However, Stephanie has periodically complained about her lack of intimacy with Drew, including in that video from April.
And I mean, I know we're tired, we got kids, we have a life, but isn't, like, in our 30s a little bit young to just barely have a sexual life? Like, something's off, yo.
She also hinted at it in this TikTok, where she dropped her Yanni kit, which is where you steam your hoo-ha, into his snack basket as an incentive to enjoy her roast beef sandwich, if you catch my meaning.
I'm gonna keep my Yanni wash in the snack bin as a little hint to him, because after I'm done with the Yanni wash, he better know I'm the snack.
And by the way, everything I'm currently sharing with you about the Resilient Jenkins are things that I have learned against my will. If I have to be cursed with this knowledge, so do you. Oh my god. Then, There's this clip that she made in the video between the crying video and the "it was just rage bait guys," where Stephanie claimed that she is never overwhelmed or overstimulated because of her kids. She loves this.
And I swear I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. My kids are never the cause of my overstimulation, my emotions, none of that. They bring a sense of balance and peace to me. Getting in mom mode and cleaning, hanging out with the kiddos, all of that brings me a lot of joy.
You know, despite the fact that she has made so many videos about just that, about being overstimulated and overwhelmed. Presumably to cover for the fact that she does everything around the house while Drew sits around on his games.
I finally got out of the house for a grocery shopping trip with just the baby, and let me tell you, that was the most relaxing, silent trip I have ever taken. I didn't think I'd ever want to take a drive without music, but I took full advantage. It was so quiet I could hear my baby sucking his binky.
Like this TikTok, where Stephanie very pointedly complains about being overstimulated.
I'm gonna flip and pop. I used to think that parents who said, "I can't wait for school to be back," were like the most horrible fucking people in the world, you know? Just awful. But I get it. Man, they don't stop.
And just wishing that she had somewhere she could retreat to in the house that didn't have a child bothering her.
And now it's just like every 10 seconds, Mom, Mom, Mom. Bro, I go in the bathroom and they're right there. I go in the kitchen and they're right there. I go anywhere, they're there. I just want to be me for 5 seconds. Just 5 minutes. I want me.
Or this one, where Stephanie's sitting outside taking a break with the cat. Now, what I find especially egregious about Stephanie's claim in this video is that this entire thing was staged.
This post was a strategic post on my part.
And that she felt like similar videos were also faked for views and engagement.
And I could tell it's like staged on their part. And I don't mean to be judgmental, but what I noticed was within their algorithm, their views spiked tremendously.
And the reason I find this so egregious is that Stephanie herself is a victim of domestic violence. In fact, she has even talked about how her experiences with DV have made her protective of other women when she happens to witness any kind of abuse in public, like in this TikTok from 2022.
There was this couple fighting, like, literally outside our front door, like, a female and another female, but, like, into transition, like, you could tell, like, they're taking testosterone, and they're just, like, fighting and screaming and stuff, and the woman was like, "You need to get out of my car, you're scaring me, like, you're clearly drunk, like, you need to get out." And I'm just like, "Kids, you guys go inside," like, and I tell my fiance, like, "We're gonna stay right here and make sure she's okay, because I'm not about to just go inside when I hear a woman is like, 'You need to go, you hit me.'"
Stephanie has also framed herself in her earlier content as an empath, as someone who is hyper empathetic and mindful of other people's emotional state.
How are you other empaths doing lately? Because my empath energy is insane lately. I have no control over it. Like, I see someone crying, I'm crying. It's happening. Like, I can't control it. Like, happy tears, sad tears, I'm right there with you.
Even going so far as to say in her deleted Facebook reels about her DV experience that as a victim, she knows better than to judge other women who have also been through it.
But I feel like at least I have an understanding, and I would never come at another woman for their DV situation. Like, ever. You all don't know what you're talking about. It's clear as fucking night.
Yeah. So this narrative that she's currently selling isn't jiving with the things that Stephanie has said in the past.
You want to know why I don't ever tell people when I'm not okay? Because it's really hard watching them not know what to do with that. And then I end up being the one comforting them when I am the one that needed comforting to begin with. And I can't open up like that.
But now we're trying to say that we faked emotional abuse for views. Okay, because that's what she's saying. Throughout this video, Stephanie couldn't get over how well this video performed compared to her other recent videos.
But I'm just astonished because that's definitely the most views I've gotten on a TikTok in quite some time. Like, I don't think I've ever gotten that many views on one of my Instagram reels.
Even this Facebook post from today is lauding the fact that her Instagram reel has surpassed 1 million views. Which, if this is true that she did it purely for content and engagement, that makes it worse. Because this stunt alienated a portion of her audience. I have seen so many comments from people who were supporting her who are utterly and completely disgusted with this rage bait claim, despite knowing that she has supporters who have experienced abuse, despite herself having experienced abuse, and her daughters, because don't forget that her daughters were in that DV situation with her. She still decided to make rage bait, if we are to believe this version. Based on that alone, in my opinion, Stephanie should be cancelled. After all, she said it herself. We are what we put forward.
We are who we put forward. That's just how it is.
So which is it? Did the Resilient Jenkins purposely manufacture outrage for engagement like she claims? Or is Stephanie trying to backpedal? Because here's the thing, based on everything Stephanie has posted over the last 3 years, I do believe that this is a backpedal. I also think that this was on purpose, as Stephanie did intentionally film herself while she was upset. She filmed herself crying. There are plenty of moments in that video where, while crying, she looked directly into the camera, leading many to believe that it was staged. And that's because it was. It was staged. Now, I'm gonna play a voice note from Blue because I texted her about this situation, just seeking her grounding voice, because Blue is very good at grounding. She's very rational, she's very empathetic, she's very smart, and I just needed help to work through the storms of emotions and information that were just rattling around inside my head, and she summarized it really succinctly.
So here's my personal take on it, because I watched your video of you talking and showing the video. I think two things can be true at once. I do think that video was staged. It seemed very clear to me, like maybe she was actually crying, but she gives, there's at least once that I can think of that she looks up at the camera, and the way that she does it just makes me go, oh, you're doing this on purpose for attention. You're like, this is pretty obvious for attention. And that's something that's commonly said, like when, people online, like influencers, YouTubers, what have you, when they're in trouble or something bad's happened and they're really distraught, they, for some reason, take the time to set up a camera, set up all their shit, and film themselves being upset and then monetize that shit. So it's like, are you really, like, you might actually be upset, but are you really that upset if you're going through the trouble of filming this, putting it online, and making money off of it? So I do think that it is more than possible that, Drew was treating her like shit, but I also think that video was also staged. Like both of those things can be true at once.
By virtue of Stephanie propping up her phone and recording herself and then posting it, there was some degree of consciousness in what she was doing. However, like Blue said, two things can be true at once. We've watched Stephanie run herself ragged for 2 weeks since giving birth to her daughter. We've seen the videos of her complaining about being tired.
I'm tired. I am. I should be asleep. But I can't be right now, because not even 30 minutes till I gotta get the kids up for school. Start making breakfast. Might as well just fucking get up and get some snacks. Get myself going.
Of her on her hands and knees scrubbing a bathtub in a situation that has likely been made even more stressful because of their impending eviction.
So I just got some somewhat discouraging news, to say the least, and I really just feel like it's the devil just trying to get in my head.
That, and, at least in my opinion, Drew's allergy to working a proper job. So much for his car detailing business, I guess. So, if anything, I think that Stephanie posted this TikTok to get back at Drew. And I think that she backpedaled because of the backlash. As Blue put it so expertly in her voice note, Stephanie is likely afraid of being alone.
But it doesn't shock me that she would backtrack and try to claim, oh no, that was just, you know, me trying to weed out whatever, because she doesn't like the idea of being alone, and she would rather be treated like shit than be alone with her children. And everybody was telling her to leave Drew and get away from him. So of course she's going to backtrack on that, right? Like it makes sense to me. I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but it makes sense to me that like both of those things are true.
And she's got a point, because Stephanie dove into her first marriage. She dove into this relationship with Drew, moving in with him within a month of dating him.
Needless to say, we kind of just wanted to get our family together and start this family journey as quick as we could.
And then she got pregnant within 3 months of dating Drew. The backlash that Stephanie has received on this video from thousands of enraged and concerned women urging her to leave likely freaked her out. Stephanie has admitted on multiple occasions that she doesn't have any friends, that she struggles to leave the house, and that she has horrible social anxiety, and that her relationship with her family is kind of not super solid. Factor in Drew potentially giving her shit for posting this, she backpedaled. She knows her situation is garbage because she's complained about it before, many times before. She knows that they're in a financial shit show, her words, that their apartment situation isn't ideal, that she has nowhere to retreat to when she's feeling overwhelmed, or when she needs to pump breast milk.
Right now, my only option would be to pump in the fucking bathroom. And it just doesn't sound like it's the most sanitary thing to do.
And worse, she's hitched her horse to a man whose pride prevents him from being an adult.
And even HVAC, people say, oh, HVAC, you pay. Hey, I was there for a year doing the most work, coming on the weekends to do scrap metal, and then going to Jackson's, and I only got a $4 raise after a year. And people got an $8 raise, making 32 plus, and they sat me at 24.
Now, the HVAC company, that's a whole other story in and of itself, because he drove all over the place for that company. He was the one working the hardest for that company, and yet they would not increase his pay. They increased the pay of 3 of the other employees while he was working there.
And Stephanie can claim, until the cows come home, that she's happy being a stay-at-home mom and trapped in the 1950s without the help of barbiturates, but she has made enough videos in the past to call into question any of the BS she's currently shoveling to convince her audience, and more importantly, herself, that this is actually true. And now, it is super clear that Stephanie is in damage control, as this stunt pissed off her supporters. So she leaned into another classic tactic that some of you familiar with Gore World might recognize as the infamous cat distraction. Only instead of a cat, Stephanie used her newborn baby and her toddler to try to change the conversation. It failed horribly. Writing in the caption, "My babies, I wanted to see what Bubba's reaction would be if I let him hold Sissy," and his face lit up. He was so gentle and content, and this should go without saying, but me and Dad, Drew, were standing right next to them the whole time. In the video caption, Stephanie will take this one step further, claiming he was so happy to hold her, he was trying to share his marker, and Bubba don't usually share his markers, which does not match the footage, by the way, because in the footage, the toddler is holding his marker in an unsafe way around the infant's face. He's not trying to show it to her, he's just being a toddler. And also, as an aside, the baby is wrapped incorrectly in a fleece blanket, so to help you understand what I'm talking about, I'm actually going to leave the clip unfiltered so that you can see just how jazzed her toddler really is to have a baby forced onto him for content. Tell me that isn't staged. As far as I'm concerned, it is obvious that Stephanie filmed this to try and spin a narrative, because of course she did. So where does this leave us? Truthfully, between a rock and a hard place. This stunt just damaged Stephanie's credibility, and yes, I am aware that her credibility was already hanging by a thread to begin with, but this didn't help. Many people have likened this situation to the fable The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Worse, The two possibilities behind this nonsense are super crummy. Either Stephanie lied and then insulted the intelligence of her audience and then shamed them for expressing concern for her, or we all understood what we saw, reacted exactly how anyone would, and Stephanie, for whatever reason, has decided that being perceived as a liar and a manipulator is better than the alternative. Both of those options suck. And no matter how Stephanie wants to spin it and claim that she only wants a genuine following.
Anyways, you know, I just want to say, if you're following us for that reason to watch us fall apart, please stop following us. We're trying to build a genuine community of support here, kindness, realness, and yeah, so just please.
There is nothing genuine about what the Resilient Jenkins are doing. Manipulating your audience is the farthest thing from genuine. And karma is about to take a giant bite out of their ass. Guaranteed. And frankly, I'm here for it. Anyway, that's it for me. I want to thank everyone for liking, commenting, and subscribing with a big thank you from my mods and members. As always, you guys are rad. And I'll catch you in the next one.